So beginning with
Yeah.
vital education today, and just starting to invite Shweta for sharing her reflections on vital. What is vital? Yes, Shweta.
So from my field of work, I can talk about how like vital is important in my field of
Can you
work.
keep your
Okay, is it better now?
a little louder would be nice, because then
Yeah. Okay.
yes,
No, this
now
is the
is
problem. Yeah, now it's fine. Yeah. No, even my voice, you have to keep reminding, otherwise,
better.
धीमा धीमा होते जाता
Yeah.
है.
So it will
Yeah.
get nice on the recording if you speak loudly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
So I was saying that from my field of work, basically all these things become important because yes, we work on these aspects of children when we like because we work on Sri Aurobindo's philosophy also. So yeah, vital I think is the life energy, or you can say the enthusiasm, or the power, the seat, from where we uh, the energy just comes, the seat of power, that is vital. And hence I think it's also very neutral. It's not like good or bad, it's just latent power. So that is why vital becomes very important, I think, because the way we direct it or give it channelize it, that is how I think it will help us to move towards our psychic being also. That is what I can say. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Shweta. Jasmine, have you heard of this word earlier, vital, or any reflection on it? So this is our emotional being, uh, the word
No,
that
I actually just came across it from you guys, so that's why. Sorry. So
that's the vital.
yeah, that's the vital right there.
Yeah,
The
right.
energy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wish I had that. Trying to get it back. Yeah.
It's very good an
So,
example actually, in front of you. Little kids are full of this life energy, full of this
yeah.
force. Yeah.
No, they are a good reminder, if you're present with them, it's almost like I get charged by it, something you move away from. So I think in life. So that's a good reminder. I'm just gonna mute for 5 minutes. I'm gonna be listening and then I'll join in. Like I'm listening, but I'll mute.
Say thanks to Kabir for giving us a live example of vital energy. So as Shweta was sharing, yes, Shweta, please.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add, in my house, the most vital is my husband with all this power and energy. Right now, he's singing songs, ghazals, karaoke, but he's like all the time either going for photography or birding or cricket, or he's all the time so full of this vital energy, like, and joyful. So yeah, I see that, like so much potential.
And I think these people are very contagious because they spill out their enthusiasm on others around.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it really balances, because yeah, it's so nice to have this balance because it makes you light and joyful.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, beautiful. So I think that's a beautiful start to reflect upon the vital being in us. And when I was reflecting upon this, it occurred to me that it's so beautiful that through the words of Mother and Sri Aurobindo, as if we begin to sort our parts and pieces, as if we are a huge machine and we don't know which part is what function, as if everything is jumbled up. And when we go through these words of Mother and Sri Aurobindo, we see that we can actually sort and arrange things within our being. And it's a blessing to know that there is a separate emotional consciousness or vital consciousness in us, which can be trained and can be a beautiful instrument for a higher purpose. And as Shweta was sharing in the beginning, that this life force, this energy, prana, it is of neutral character. That is the beauty. So जैसे इसको हम ढालेंगे वैसे ये ढल जाएगी, and that is why in the early years, Shweta works with children who are young, play group to nursery, pre-nursery, this age group. And in the early years this molding is very necessary. If we can, mother says that if we can give the children a taste for higher things, for loftier music, not the, the vulgar kind of music, a loftier music, yeah, or maybe a loftier artwork. So admiring beauty, all this comes into this training of the vital being in us. So, and I was actually really full of joy when I was going through these words by the mother on the vital. It earlier I used to really think that what is this vital? I'm not able to get truly, as if I'm not able to separate in me these parts, mental, vital. I would not say that separation is full now, or I wonder if it can ever be full. We can only be on this journey. But I now see that I have a taste to understand the vital consciousness, especially more. And earlier I used to feel as if I would go blank when I would want to understand this vital being. And now I feel that as if I'm attracted to read and understand more through words of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. So thanks to all of you, even those who listen to the recordings later, to give this chance to reflect upon it. So I'll just begin with the sharing of the screen where we can slowly go over these words. So the references of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo's works almost remain the same. One is this book, which I got from Shweta, A New Education for a New Consciousness. And the other one is again this beautiful book full of examples by Dr. Ramesh Bijlani, Philosophy and Practice of Integral Yoga. Yeah. So again, I have jumbled up pieces from here and there and kind of made it into a movement. So the education of the vital, which is the source of all emotions, feelings, desires, impulses, depressions, passions, revolts, all this ups and down, the movement, it can set in motion, but can also destroy. As Shweta shared, that I can do it, use it for a higher purpose, or I can use it for destructive purposes. People, kids who are very naughty, they turn naughty because their energies are not channelized properly. So because we as trainers, we are educators, we as parents, we don't know, we don't have enough power of observation to see what really amuses and entertains, or occupies the interest of that child. So we are not able to occupy the child in a proper place, and that's our fault. Actually, child being naughty is our fault. And that's why the energy goes here and there and becomes more destructive rather than being something creative. So Mother talks about vital education. After this, we'll study deeply what vital is. First is training of the senses, refinement of all the six senses, taste, touch, smell, all these senses that we have. Development of artistic faculties. So all this music, drama, theater, all this self-expression, what Shweta was sharing, her husband being engaged in photography or ghazals, or all this is the vital energy. It has to get occupied somewhere. Enlightenment of all inner movements, that is the third step and most important step according to the Mother, that all the inner movements of my being have to transform with the light of the psychic being. And psychic education we will cover later, the true essence that we are. Yeah. So vital is a good worker, but most often it seeks its own satisfaction. कि बस मैं खुश हो जाऊं, मुझे नहीं पता कि उससे क्या होने वाला है, बस मैं खुश हो जाऊं. I should be happy. And if that is refused, then vital gets vexed, sulks, and goes on strike. So this is what we see when we have these mood swings. Yeah. Hi Gaurav, welcome. We have already started. Just I hope you pick up in between.
Yeah, thanks, Sai.
So all these mood swings that we have, whenever our wishes are not met, demands are not fulfilled, this is all work of the vital. Yeah, and we think that it is my mood. I did not get what I wanted. So we associate it very tightly with it, and that is our trouble. So slowly, as we discover that vital can be, we can disengage from it, this surface vital, and then we can actually master the movement, just like we master a car or a bicycle, because it is something other than us. If I am one with this mood, then I'm not able to master it. Once I see that, yes, this is the movement of my vital energy, and I don't have to take it so on myself that this is me, this is me. Yeah, I can disengage and see whether this is necessary or maybe something else is necessary. So this disengagement is very important. And please keep on sharing whenever you have anything. I'll pause in between also. Its energy disappears more or less completely. You must have seen, especially those of us who are with children and also with adults, that the moment something is not happening according to you, moods. You go into a corner and you say, I'm not talking to anyone, because you're not listening to me. So that is the work of vital. Muh bana ke baith jana, which we say. Yeah. And in its place leaves disgust for people and things, discouragement, revolt, depression, dissatisfaction. Yeah, so all this is coming from the ego consciousness, the surface vital. This is all surface vital. There is also a true vital, which we'll talk about later. At such moments, it is good to remain quiet and refuse to act. So I think this is very, very powerful. Mother says that in those moments where you see that something in you is very moody, wants to sulk and wants to go into depression because your needs or demands are not met, it's good to remain quiet and not act according to the mood. Slowly take your time and then act whatever action is required. Many of us don't know this, and since we don't know this, we are not able to follow or practically experiment with this. But if we really want to experiment, I think we really regain a lot of power back, which we keep on giving to others. We feel so helpless and powerless at times when we give this power away. Yeah, so when I don't act according to the surface movements of the emotional being, the vital being, according to his demands, expectations, then I retain a lot of power within me. Yeah. These are the times when we are not able to stop ourselves and the surface vital is aggressive or demanding, full of expectation. These are the times when one does stupid things if we are not able to stop. In a few moments, one can destroy or spoil the progress that has been made. These cries are shorter and less dangerous for those who have secured the contact with psychic being. So the more we get deeper in touch with our truer self, the more we are able to have mastery over this surface emotional being, full of demands, full of cravings, full of seekings and expectations. Yeah. So that is what happens when we are able to get the true self, the wisdom that we all of us have. All of us have that. We know that there is something deep in us which knows better, which understands better, which guides us better. Just takes a pause in our life to shift to that consciousness. Yeah. So now, how can we deal? How can we have a self mastery over the vital or emotional being? Moment I step back into my deeper self, away from my demands, expectations of the emotional being, I see that now I can train it, as if a stubborn child. पुरानी आदत हो गई है इसको, कि आइसक्रीम मांगनी, आइसक्रीम मांगनी, आइसक्रीम मांगनी है. Old habits die hard. So what we do is that the moment we detach a bit, step back from it, we say that I actually can be responsible for my own contentment and happiness, and I do not have to give in to the demands of the surface vital. Because whenever I give into the demands and expectations and I act as a slave to the surface vital, I suffer. We go through so much of depression and suffering whenever demands are not met, and I think that I am my demand. It is my demand. Yeah. So when we can create this kind of a distinction in the beginning, later on we will merge it, but in the beginning this distinction is very necessary. Yeah. Then we can deal with it as we deal with a rebellious child, with patience, perseverance, showing truth and light, awaken goodwill which has been veiled. So imagine that a child has gotten addicted to sweets. Yeah, and the mother knows that the child, being addicted to sweets is not good for child. So mother, no matter how discomfort she has to go through, what she would do is that she would deal with the stubbornness of the child in this way or the other, because there is love at the root. There is love for the child, and whenever you have love for anyone, you don't want that the person suffers. owing to the addiction. So yes, I will have to go through discomfort when I let my demands dissociate from me, and yet I am ready for it because I see how much I suffer because of that. Yeah. Yes. And then mother says that if we intervene like this, dealing with a rebellious child, if we work like this with ourselves, then each crisis is turned into means to progress. Now, what does this mean? Let us reflect upon this, because this is something very practical. How can each demand, each expectation, wherever a ripple of that emotional movement arises, how can I turn it into a means to progress? Let us share something on this, because I think this is very relevant, especially for practical implications of the yoga. So if something is coming to you at this moment, please share. Okay, so I assume that nothing is coming at the moment. Yeah, so I'll just go ahead, share one or two examples so that it becomes clear, and then you can share if you resonate. Yeah, so what, see, usually what we do is that we keep on demanding from life and people and situations and from ourselves, and we continue to suffer, being a slave to the demands. Yeah? Now when I have suffered enough and I see that I'm still unhappy, then I begin to see my tendencies as if they are something other than me. Earlier, I am my tendencies, I am my desires, I am my ambitions, I am my greed. And hence I, as if I am a worker or of all of these, that I 24/7 I work, बंधुआ मजदूरी होती है ना जो, being a slave to the company of desires, ambitions, greed, expectations, demands. Now, when I have suffered enough and I really see that I'm just prolonging the suffering, this wisdom in me arising, then I begin to see the tendencies as something other than me, as if there is this other person standing. Just like we see other people who live close to us, how beautifully we can see their tendencies, their emotional patterns. You will notice that how beautifully we can see that, okay, this is the emotional behavior you have, this is the pattern of thinking you have. I am not able to see my own, and that is why I keep on identifying with it. The moment I dissociate with this emotional surface consciousness, I see that, oh, this is something which I can see. Earlier it was a blind spot because it was like this. The moment I am ready to see it like this, it is not anymore a blind spot. I have created this distance for good vision, clarity. Now I see, अच्छा, जब भी ऐसी बात होती है तब मैं ऐसे रिएक्ट करती हूँ, क्यों? अच्छा, जब भी मेरी डिमांड नहीं मानी जाती है तो मेरा मूड खराब हो जाता है, क्यों? So you begin to question yourself and your tendencies. Now this is the patient intervention that mother is, I believe, again, coming from my own understanding, always. I believe that mother is talking of this patient intervention, that now this is a rebellious child I have, the child is me, and now can I work patiently with the child and turn him into something of beauty? क्योंकि उसको आदत पड़ गई है स्वीट्स की, आदत पड़ गई है ऐसी चीजों की जो उसके लिए हार्मफुल है. क्या मैं उसको ऐसी आदत डाल सकती हूँ जो उसके लिए हितकर हैं, things which are good for this rebellious child? Yeah? So giving myself more time, engaging myself in more of those activities which are joyful for me. We have forgotten joy when we become adult. We forget joy slowly, gradually, if we are suffering too much. We, as if joy is something far. Why not? Do something silly. Maybe wear your clothes ulta one day and go out. Something silly, something maddening. And then so that we begin to take ourselves less seriously, and slowly that child also has fun. Not all the seriousness of an adult, but also fun. And then slowly it can actually be very content with its own self. It would not sulk at every demand not met. Yeah. So would that make sense? Does that example how we can turn each crisis into a means to progress? And if you have reflections from your own life, that would be nice if you can share. सो ऐसा तो हो नहीं सकता कि हम में से किसी को भी इमोशनल बीइंग के एक्सपीरियंसेस नहीं है. Yeah. So just speak out any experience that you have seen in yourself, or maybe you have witnessed it in other, how each crisis can be turned into a means to progress. And what is a crisis actually for us? That would also be nice to know, uh, when a situation becomes a crisis.
Yeah, so there are many. So I was not talking because there's so many, na? So many, like they're all connected to each other. I was like wondering how to pick up one and talk, but suddenly, like I remember, about my child. So I just shared that. So like, in the growing up years, how I have seen this strong vital in my child, and how it was so different from how, like I am as a person, and like especially in her English essays, like her stories were something that, like I used to wonder from where does all this come, because this is not the environment. So at home, so then I used to talk to her teacher, like ye kahan se, then she used to tell me ki no, this is the collective thing, that's going on, that's a peers, and peers ka energy and everything, and these children like to, so it was a lot of like for a 12-13-year-old girl to be such an activist. And I was like wondering, because activist is fine, but the essay had examples and stories which were like so shocking for me, like ye kahan se, like kahan se aa raha and all. And then gradually, like so that was, that helped me understand how my vital energy is so different, because the elder one projected exactly like, the way I am, and then the younger one had a separate vital energy, and how it helped me unlearn, learn, and grow further. And how, just allowing that space of vital energy, I have like witnessed so many questioning, so much of growth, so much of agitation, and just being present to all that gradually. And now recently, like it was so nice to hear from her that, mama, I think I feel very settled these days, but I also think that, all those things were so important for me to reach here. And I said, yes, definitely, it was important. And because you went through all that, you are here right now. And again, it might happen, like, so these vital energies, when they find expression, and yet, like, it's like because they especially in young children, they just need expression, like they just need someone to not judge them and just help them, and they all have their inner guidance. So I have seen how, it is settling, and it's taking a now it is moving towards wisdom. Yeah, I have like really seen this last 3-4 years.
Beautiful. Yeah. So such a blessing to witness this happening in our own
Yes.
children.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And how much growth I went through
Yeah,
because of that. Yeah. So it's
absolutely.
really nice. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. It's also very amazing how two children, I'm sure we have heard it so many times that within a house, two children can be extremely different. I see that it with my own two kids, that both have different permutation and combination of degrees of vital energy. As you are sharing about your younger one, I also see that my younger one is more dominated by the vital, uh, and hence more creative. Expression is very amusing at times, very artistic, and very, I would say, innocent, and also full of like weird. Where is it, as you were sharing, where is it coming from? So I also
Yeah.
so it's very powerful to see these happening in front of us. Yeah, very nice. Anyone else, Jasmine or Shreya, if you have anything to share? Any experiences with the crisis of vital, Shreya?
Um, I don't know if I can share an experience per se, but of course I have experienced being overtaken by the vital a lot. I mean, I have had a struggle, especially in last 10 years, with the emotional aspect in me. For the longest time when I was growing up, I think I was just numb. And late 20s and early, I mean, now I'm in my mid 30s. So all of those last 10 years have been really just understanding, first getting an awareness about my emotions and my vital, and now learning how to deal with them in a healthier way. I mean, it still happens that I lose my temper, I get irritated or frustrated. But even so, there are still moments when I am able to keep a check, I am able to respond rather than react. I mean, if I am able to stop myself from reacting, I am able to come back to the situation a little later and at least explain myself in a better way, in a more saner way, less blame and more just communication. So I see the importance of that, but still it is a struggle. The lows and come often, and they do really take over sometimes for a day or two. And
Yes, Shreya, I think absolutely with you. Mother says that the conversion of the vital is very difficult to attain, but one can deal with it with a lot of perseverance, a lot of patience, a lot of will. That is what Mother says. Without that kind of perseverance, patience, that yes, it will take long, but I am at it. And with Mother's grace, with divine grace, there is nothing that is impossible. So I think we just have to be on the path, and beautiful to see these even baby steps happen. That what you were sharing, that at times I see that I'm able to step back and not react but respond. I think that is little victory. One can really give a pat, good job, or maybe thank Mother for it. That thank you, Mother, for making this happen. And at many a times, since the attachments are so strong, we are so entangled that we become blinded, and we are not able to step back. And that again is a moment for me to reflect upon, because after those moments are gone, and if I reflect upon it, then we figure out that I could have worked in this way or that way. Yeah.
I think, yeah, it is a journey, especially in 20s and 30s. I feel, yeah, because, even the vitals clash, right? Like, if I have to talk about my husband and me, like, he had so much to do, and all the time, like a kid, in 20s and 30s, they're like playing this, that, cricket, yeah, wo, jana, idhar jana, like so much. And like, I was so different, and yeah, so our vitals clashed. And earlier, what I used to do is like, I used to cling to him. So yeah, no, not feeling good also about it, I'm not taking care of my vital energies, which is very different. So all these emotional highs and lows, they ultimately, I think, they help you to understand that you have to now address your own vital energies. And as soon as I started that, I think there was such a balance, and now I can appreciate all that I was troubled by, because I am really addressing my vital energies, I'm going by that. And yeah, and there is a very mutual exchange of consciousness also, I feel, in just being in our own vital energies. Yeah, so it really helps. Yeah.
That's really very, very beautiful. That how we can have, then we can partake of this variety that we have at home. You know, if
Yes.
we allow
Yeah.
each other to be. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a journey. Yeah.
It's a
Isn't
journey,
it? Yeah.
definitely. And you know, at the moment we are actually talking of just the nature of vital, and also of this mostly of the surface vital, because the true vital being in us, that never sulks. So that is the mystery which we have to move, what Shweta, I think was, you were touching upon, that we all have to move to our true vital energy. And that is the part which is surrendered to the divine. That is the part which is wise, which has the energy, and yet it is not blinded. So that is the true vital in us, which is adoration towards the divine, towards progress, towards perfection, holier things, loftier things. That is the true vital. So this passion, enthusiasm, desire, sulking, mood swings, all this is the working of the surface vital. But they share properties. Hmm? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's about understanding how pleasures, vital pleasures are not important, but connecting to self and understanding, I think, at a deeper level. Yeah.
Absolutely. And as you were sharing that I have to respect my own uh, inner self, and I have to actually, because everyone has a different swadharma, just as everyone has a different swabhav and swadharma. So it cannot be that what my husband wants to do in this life, or the purpose of his life, although at most of the time our we common purpose, we have a common purpose which is self realization. That is a common purpose, but we are still very unique in our combinations. So that respect, as you were sharing, that I have to deeply respect the my constitution, work according to that, like not remold in a way which others want me to. And then he has to uh, take care of his own constitution. And that is the uniqueness that we can have, what we say, that there is multiplicity in unity. So yes, we are all one, we share this one shared being of awareness, and yet we have so many different uniquenesses in us. And that is what I think was very obvious from your sharing, that now I can exchange this uh, consciousness, vital consciousness, that we can actually see some beauty from the other, and then uh, the same thing we spill out. Yeah, the
Yeah.
variety in
Yes.
life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just also wanted to share that what you were saying earlier, that all the surface vital, all of the surface vital is basically coming from our mind stories, right? At least for me. Like, even today, for example, I can see that there is a certain mind story that's been playing, and I'm trying to ignore it or, rationalize it. But if I give into it, it starts to make me feel one way, dissatisfied, for example, that, nobody hears me, or nobody's there for me. But I have to keep on keeping a check that, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. So it's basically, for me, it just comes down to whether I'm able to control that story that's running in my mind, step away from it, or am I giving into it.
That's really beautiful. Absolutely. So this is absolutely connected with the ego consciousness, me and my story. And the moment you touch the story, the suffering comes back again. The moment you give in to the demands of the story. And that is what you were sharing, that vigilance is very important. That am I giving into the story, or am I back deep within? So even from there, from deep within, we can take wiser actions. It's not that one has to really become dumb in life. We can take intelligent actions from that deep space. Wiser actions which are fulfilling for the other also, and for me also. But mostly, since ego is so self-centered, it always wants its own demands fulfilled. Since we work from this sense of lack. So the moment I am slipping into that, the story part that you were referring to, just checking is the beautiful way. Vigilance, mother has shared a lot on vigilance also. Yeah. So vital, this beautiful words by the mother. She shares this vital is a curious creature. It is a being of passion, enthusiasm, desire, capable of getting enthusiastic over small something beautiful. Maybe we saw something beautiful, maybe nature, or maybe we made something beautiful. So we or somebody shared something beautiful quote with us. So this admiration towards beauty comes from the vital. Hmm? Enthusiastic over something beautiful. Also, this is a collective vital energy is when we go play, go to see these matches, football matches, or these Olympic games or cricket matches, and everyone is cheering, rushing, into cheers. So that is the collective joy that we connect with. This enthusiasm, that also is vital. The enthusiasm, the admiration for a beautiful sixer, that is all coming from the vital consciousness of admiring, of sensing something nobler than itself. And if anything beautiful occurs in the being, if there is a movement having an exceptional value, well, it may get enthusiastic and it is capable of giving itself with complete devotion, with generosity that is not found in mental or physical domain. Beautiful words again. So here, see if bhakti movement, Mirabai, all Rahim and Kabir ji, all this Kabir, I would not actually enter into bhakti movement, but all these saints that we had in the past. So these mystics enamored by the beauty of the divine, again a part of vital movement activity. Although mother says that it is vital bhakti, we still have to go further. But that shows us a very beautiful kind of demonstration of that the vital it would not even care about itself. It will drink poison if it knows that there is something so beautiful for that I can give my life for it. That is the bhakti, that is the devotion. So it can happen in both ways. Either I can give my life for the divine, but if I am trained otherwise, I can give my life for my country, I can give my life for terrorism. Same vital energy is operating everywhere. So the tool is same, but how do we train it? What do we make it kind of, or what is the conditioning or training that we are giving to it? So this complete devotion comes from vital. And that is why mother says that people who have a very active, strong vital, if they are trained properly and if they enter on the spiritual path, they can be very dynamic for divine work, full of energy, going here and there, making all sorts of movements to make it happen. Yeah. And again, mother shares, connects it with the hero, warrior spirit. That was also very beautiful. That this hero spirit in me, warrior spirit in me, somebody is, maybe being hit, and here, you feel compassion and you go and save that person, not caring about what happens to you. You go and save that person. So mother says that this hero spirit, the warrior spirit, the energy of the hero spirit, this is a strong vital. Heroes are always people who have a strong vital. And when vital is enthused with something, I'm passionate for something, it is no longer a reasonable being. Now reason goes for a toss. Now if I have to work for the divine cause, I will travel 200 miles and not care whether I am being fed or not. That kind of irrational, irreasonable energy. But a warrior is irrational. Because if you talk rationality with a warrior, he would say, I just feel so strongly for this cause that I don't care whether my family is left or not, whether my, all this rational aspects are, then they don't matter at all. They don't calculate. It is wholly in this action and can perform exceptional things because it does not calculate. Ego always calculating, reason always calculating. This does not calculate, this passionate energy.
I have a confusion here. So isn't all this
Louder, Shweta,
Yeah.
louder.
So I have a confusion. Isn't all this a part of psychic being? I mean, this warrior and like going beyond and suddenly like acting out of just going and that hero thing and all. I thought that comes out of your psychic being.
So yeah, absolutely. Courage is connected with psychic being. Fearlessness is connected with psychic being. And the hero spirit is connected with the vital, with the strong vital. Now it's as if they are sharing properties. Persons with weak vital won't have this hero spirit. And we will talk about the weak vital also later. Yeah. And also when vital is being transformed in the light of psychic, again it gets a new charge, new spirit, new hero spirit. So it is holy in in its action and can perform exceptional things because it does not calculate, does not reason, does not say one must take precautions, not do this, not do that. It gives itself totally. So again, when we talk about path of surrender, which is giving yourself to the divine, people with strong vital, although they also have strong egos, that we'll touch upon that later. So people, they may have strong egos also, and mother says that if the ego breaks off, then the instrument can be really perfected. Yeah, because it can give itself, offer itself completely to the divine. Therefore it can do magnificent things if guided in the right way. A converted vital is an all powerful instrument. It begins by ambition when it tastes something beautiful, admirable, and ends in consecration. Again, beautiful lines, So imagine that I have tasted something in me which was full of divine grace. And that taste is propelling me further on the path. Yeah, so that's what mother is sharing, that it begins by being ambitious, that yes, I will do it. Yes, it is possible for me in this lifetime. So it begins with ambition and ends up wholly giving yourself to the divine because you're so enamored by the beauty and grace. Now again, beautiful lines. There is only one thing that vital abhors, that is a dull life, monotonous, gray, tasteless, spiritless life. I think that would connect with the example Shweta, for example, was sharing, her husband, full of these activities, kabhi ye karna hai, kabhi wo karna hai. Because if a person is living mostly on the vital plane, vital consciousness is active, then one cannot stand gray and tasteless life. One needs colors and variety and this beauty in life, expression in life.
But Monica, what about depression and feeling low then?
That is a weak vital.
That's a weak vital.
Weak vital. Again, training required there. We will talk about that later.
Okay. So it's just another shade of vital.
Yes, yes.
You think a strong vital is a colorful vital?
Yes. Strong vital is full of energy. A weak vital is dull in energy. And that's why more prone to depression and other attacks, of the kind of going down types, sulking, going down in mood. Yeah. Yes. So faced with a dull life, the vital goes to inertia. It says, "Mujhe karna hi nahi hai, rehne do. Itna ganda, no life, no taste. I just don't want to engage." It likes extremely violent things. It is true. It can be extremely wicked, extremely cruel, generous, extremely good also, and extremely heroic. So all these shades are shades of vital. Extremely depressive, extremely heroic. It always goes to extremes and can be on one side or the another as the current flows.
But Monica, I feel if you have very strong vital, then you can go to this extreme low. Don't you think? Because I have another example of my mother. She has extremely strong vital. So मैंने highs भी देखे और उतना ही ज़्यादा उनके lows, मतलब इतना depression ये वो सब तो I have seen that in her and I know that till date she has very strong vital. वो channelize नहीं होता तो. So what would you say about that?
I think that is a very much a possibility. I've seen that with people around me also. That is a possibility, that you touch very extreme highs also, and then you sulk so deeply that depression is also there. So depression can be here also. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah. And again, as we are touching upon the vital, there is so much to the vital. And it's just this initiation that we are doing. And rest, we will go deeper into texts of Mother and Sri Aurobindo and see that there is so much uh, to this iceberg that we are touching. Yeah. And this vital, if you place in a bad environment, it will imitate bad environment, do bad things with violence and to an extreme degree. If you place it in presence of something wonderfully beautiful, generous, great, divine, it can be carried away with that also. Forget everything and give itself totally. It does not calculate, it follows its passion and enthusiasm. So, in this same paragraph, so many times Mother shares, it does not calculate. There is no calculation that the vital does. Yeah. And that is why reason, when Mother and Sri Aurobindo have said that so far as the vital is not trained, since emotions are so unruly, we'll come to that later also. Reason serves like a regulator, because if I use my reason, then I'm able to regulate the emotions. Otherwise, they are so unruly and wild. And at times, reason also fails. So much of power in the vital. Yeah. So when it has desires, the desires are violent, arbitrary, and it does not take into account good or bad of others. Again, we are talking of the surface vital. We are not yet touching upon the true vital. Vital is like a horse of pure breed. If it lets itself be directed, then it will win all the races. If it is untamed, it will trample people, cause havoc, break its own legs or back. It loves exceptional things, exceptionally good or exceptionally bad. It does not like the ordinary life. If it is shut up, it gets dried, no energy left, and one will have no longer the energy to do what one wants to do. So if I am having an idea, Mother says that if you have idea in your head, okay, let's do this. If the vital is on the strike, Mother actually uses this word that vital goes on strike, and you have no power over the vital. As so far I have no mastery over the vital that I can put it to work, then it will just not move. So I will not be able to manifest that idea in expression, manifestation. Yeah. So as if one of the servants has gone on strike, he's not coming to office anymore because its demands are not met. Yeah, so Mother says, do not wail if you have a powerful vital, but you must have strong reins to hold them quite firmly. Then things go well. So I don't have to really sulk that what do I do with this so much of energy. The Mother is saying that just one has to channelize, master gradually with a lot of patience and love for oneself. Only with love we can do this transformation. Otherwise, by force, by pressure, we cannot do that. Yeah. Anything at this moment? So we'll go, I think, 10-15 minutes more, and then after that, we'll end. So now this part is from Dr. Ramesh's book. Again, he gives so many good examples. So he says, yeah, Shreya, you want to share?
Not share, ask. I just wanted to ask, since you just said, channelizing your vital or getting a control on your vital. So, are there any practical tips that Mother shares or that are there in this book in terms of, yeah, just to get
Yes,
a
yes.
control?
Yeah, there will be
And
practices.
the
Yeah. Shweta, would you like to share on any practices that you use with children if you are aware of them?
Yeah, I mean, generally what we do is like if there are these little children, we see they have very strong vital energies, and normally you know what they tend to do is like वो दूसरे बच्चों को भी थोड़ा तंग करेंगे, यहाँ जाएंगे वहाँ जाएंगे. So like what we do is, yeah, we give a lot of attention, one-on-one attention. We separately, you know, connect to the child. We go out while you know the session is, because in every class we have like two teachers, so you know like one teacher will just engage with this child, and you know also you know running together, and you know so after we just run 2-3 rounds or play together, and then we get the child back, and the child is much more settled, you know, to then engage with what is going on or be with other children, and a lot of attention and you know personal attention and love, basically being unconditional and just you know joyfully connecting to the child. That helps us, because I deal with very small children, you know, like pre-primary years. So I think, but at every level, that is what helps. I think even with my husband, I think only that works, like no judgment. And yeah, that's like so beautiful, you know, like after all these are like you know so much, this is like so much of channelization, and you feel wow, matlab, there can be so much to do, and you know like I personally feel ki, oh my god, I can do so much. Like you reach a point, but I think the idea is like non-judgmental approach, and just connection. Connection helps. Yeah.
Very
I
powerful.
so you know like I remember one of my like a very cute child, like what he used to do in the classes. Ultimately, he started you know going taking water bottles and filling for the friend. Because he had so much you know energy, and he wouldn't sit, and you know like he would just accompany, like we fill water bottles during summers for you know children to go back, some travel by bus and all. So you know like he would always take like, no, I want to hold 4-5 bottles, and it's feeling so important that you know filling the bottles, getting it, and it this became a daily routine, and the child started feeling so good that I'm you know so helpful, telling the parent, you know, I help so much. And suddenly the language is different, you know, the you know from a naughty child, which parents feel you know so troubled, you know, my child is very naughty. So now you know like child only feels ki, no, I am so helpful, you know, like I'm such a nice guy. So those little shifts, you know, like we see, like making the child help us in project experiences, you know, like okay, you get the crayons, can you please get this for me, you know, these things, just these little children just need that. So basically just attention, and not judging their vital energy, just channelizing it, that helps us. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Shweta. That kind of makes sense. Can you hear me clearly? Because I'm using these
Yes,
headphones.
yes,
Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Shweta, that brings me, I was just thinking here what Monica was saying, that I don't understand what vital yet. Honestly, I'm still kind of absorbing and processing. But you know how you said the environment impacts, and then how Shweta said the kids, like the kid had so much energy that it needs to be channelized, and the kids need connection. So I was just thinking it's very prominent, especially in Western culture here, right? ADHD has become so prominent for different reasons. And the problem kids have is mainly school जाते हैं, so then they're made to sit and all that. And this is like not epidemic, but still like a lot of increase in kids being medicated with this. So this kind of sadly that's the situation here. So I just wanted to bring that out. Nothing really great, but just
No,
that
no,
made me think of that.
I think
Yeah.
absolutely in alignment with the sharing. Yeah. I think Shweta, thank you for sharing your experience. I also feel that, I think once I shared this example of this very naughty child who would bring whiskey, etc., in eighth, ninth class in heritage school, and how that person who came from Krishnamurti school, he channelized his energies, gave him attention, gave him love, connected with him, and slowly he was actually turned into a beautiful, generous human being. So I also see that with my little one, that he is so much energy. And if we give them proper roles, which Shweta was mentioning, that yes, you are worth it. yes, you are capable, please, fetch me that, fetch me this, can you do that for me? And they're so happy doing that. People full of this energy, they're so, as if, what you were talking about is, it was so cute, filling up bottles for the others. So they have such great capacity for this generosity, owing to this bubbling energy in us.
Oh yes, so
Yeah,
much purity, so much
yeah,
purity and pure vital. You
yeah,
can just decide what to do with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Really beautiful, almost brings tears to my eyes, when we see this innocence. And what we do is that, since our lifestyles are so corrupted nowadays, as parents, we are just working, 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 and earning money. So we are not able to give that much of attention and validation and love to our children. Instead of that, we give resources, and no resource can complete the need for a parent or a caretaker. And there, then all this vital energy gets transferred into these combinations of ADHD, and I'm sure there's more to ADHD than only this. And we just put a label on it, and then, as if we are boxing people, rather than giving love, attention, and energy, and understanding why they are doing that. So I think, again, we need uh, almost an urgency, again and again in every session. I feel there is an urgency to connect with our true nature, because only then we can connect with others in a loveful manner. And all of us need love. All we need is love. That is what we seek. So when we connect with our own essence, which is essence of love only, I think then we can actually connect with others in love and empathy. Otherwise, there is no possibility. Yeah. And love is also capable of great observation. What Shweta was sharing, non-judgmental observation. I think Krishnamurti throughout his life has just pointed towards this non-judgmental awareness and open observation, not boxing and categorizing things, just looking plainly at things. And then you understand whether it's a child, it's your own self, or whether it's a community that you're working with. Yeah.
Yeah, true, true, absolutely.
Yeah. And also it yes, Jasmine, it touches your heart. I remember, again, I'm just taking, just like Shweta was sharing example of her husband, I take example of my little one, Anand. And he has so much of energy, again wanting to do something new, and that he makes things happen. One thing, one day I was just deciding that I would shift the furniture in my room, and I will bring the table from the other place to my own room for books to keep and other things. And he was so excited about the whole adventure. He said, no, let's do it now, let's do it now. And he actually made it happen within that night, and we were thinking we'll do it in the morning. So this, this enthusiasm for getting things done, all that is a gift of this vital energy. Cake bake करना है तो कल क्यों करना है, आज ही कर लेते हैं. Although again we need channelizing, because then training of the vital requires that you also develop this patience, that you hold your horses. So again, I think a balance is needed here. Yeah. Okay. So let's I think finish this paragraph. Yeah, emotions are unruly part of the mind, and therefore the most difficult to educate. It is assumed that intellect, using the tool of reason, can take care of the unruly mind. But the emotions are not only unruly, they are also very powerful. So, intellect is not always able to discipline emotions. Instead of that, what happens? Emotions end up exploiting the reason, the intellect. Yeah. So emotions are so powerful that you will make up reasons why you must follow an emotional impulse. So they kind of hijack even reason itself. Exploitation makes the intellect invent reasons which would justify what we want at the emotional level, and it's a very tricky affair. One would not get to know that this is happening. Thus emotions are able to pave their way even if it means evil, or yeah. And then he gives this example that if a party's stomach is feeling full, and then head is saying no more, no more, heart says, yo, please some more, one gulab jamun more. um, oh my God, somebody has made it with so much of love and care. I'll have green tea when I get home. This is how we kind of reason with our own self when we want to follow an impulse.
I
Yeah.
think, Monica, I think training the vital in the childhood, I think that is important, because these impulses, I think they slowly develop. You understand only when you are an adult, because in the childhood it was not given a route, or it was not guided. I think वहाँ पे काफी सारा मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि बहुत फर्क पड़ता है, things, because again, going by example, I feel that if I have to talk about my husband's family, I think such simple and existential, and so I think the vital was very trained in a sense in engaging in things, and high vital, but always something to do. तो वो मुझे लगता है काफी फर्क पड़ा, जबकि these highs and lows I used to find in myself, because especially emotional highs and lows, because I come from a background, so like my mother was like that, so तो वो खुद को समझ के channelize करना, that I had to do to get into a healthy vital. So I think bachpan, the childhood matters a lot, yeah, to train all this.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think this education, integral education, it begins as we are children, although we are taking it up as if we can, use it also for our own self. Because I think even as at adult level, if I don't understand what my own vital is, what my own mental is, what my own physical demands, how would I understand the needs of a child, or whether it's my own child or somebody else's? So absolutely with you. And mother has said that the training has to begin as soon as the child is ready to understand. It and very little children begin to understand. Yes, Jasmine. Yeah.
No, I'm trying to still understand the vital because it's very new thing to me. So because I haven't read Mother's thing, right? I wanted to know, like, is vital we're talking about something like mind, like ego, or it's um, I'm just trying to, because I think it's more because you've learned things before.
Say it again. Say it again. Wasn't clear.
Is vital like your mind, your ego, like uh, maybe,
Vital is not like mind or like ego. They're all knitted together.
okay.
It's like ego uses the vital also, and the mind and ego are the one, and through mind thinking and feeling are emerging. So what we are talking of feeling level, so they're all interconnected. It's a one mixture almost, if you can
Yeah.
say. So because as I think, so I begin to then feel. So yeah, kind of enmeshed together. Yeah. Yeah, so then he says, Dr. Ramesh Bijlani, he says that if emotions are so unruly, and shall we just kill them because they are so unruly and can destroy? He says no. Mother and Sri Aurobindo also say no, they don't have to be killed or shunned. Life will become dull and colorless without them. Rather, integral yoga says that we should divinize our parts of being, refine, make them purer, more beautiful. Purpose of emotions is feelings are behind every great or worthwhile things do that we do. And the example that he says, that for example Taj Mahal was built because he felt, Shah Jahan felt for Mumtaz. They felt for each other. So feelings are behind everything. So he said, okay, यहाँ से भी ले आओ, यहाँ से भी पत्थर ले आओ, उधर से भी पत्थर ले आओ, no matter जितना पैसा लगे, ले आओ, and he made something so beautiful. Yeah. So climbing, doing things which are so heroic. So feelings are behind all of these things. Then he also says, beautiful example here, that all of us know that getting married, having children, we see people around, that it's a long, arduous journey. One has to go through so much. Pregnancy, going through all the delivery, labor, and yet, since people feel for each other, since people fall in love, they want to do it. So he says that this is feelings are behind everything. Hence we cannot kill feelings, we must refine feelings. Yeah. Yeah, so I think let's end of, I'll just share this story. I'm sure Shweta must have heard, especially because she works with children. Um, Shweta, have you heard this story of the sun want the fight between the competition between wind and sun? कि वो बंदा है उसकी shawl हटाते हैं. Have you heard that story?
No, no, no.
अच्छा नहीं सुनी. Okay, चलो let me then share it with you. So this story I found it in Dr. Ramesh Bijlani's book only. He shares that once there was a competition between wind and sun, that let us try to see who is stronger. So wind started the competition. Now he says that one can ask questions in between. One can ask, why would you think wind would say of such a competition? One can ask these questions out to children. And since we are the children here, so let us ask self this question, that why would wind say that, okay, let us play this game, let us compete and see who can remove the shawl from that fellow. So why do you think wind would say that?
Me, it comes out kind of test their own power, or it's sort of in a way kind of move and kind of in touch, getting not so much in maybe ego. I'm not going by that word, but testing their own what I can do.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Strong vital.
Good one. Yeah, absolutely. So wind feels maybe, so maybe wind felt that I'm more powerful and let's have this game and let me show who is more powerful. Yes, maybe something like that. Yeah. So then what happens? Wind kind of blows itself very, very strongly. And what the man does is, man holds on to the shawl even strongly. So the wind is using force on man, and the man is not ready to let go. Yeah, man is holding to the shawl even more tightly कि कहीं चली ना जाए. And then just a second. Yeah. And then what's wind's turn is over. The man is with the shawl still. And then sun comes. Now sun shines so brightly that the man begins to sweat. And he himself now wants to take the shawl off. So then one can ask this question again to kids, that why do you think sun won the game? And why would you think, let us share if you have anything coming up. Why would you think that sun won the game? What was it that he did?
I would just say being himself, really strong.
Sorry, once again.
I think she said, Shweta, you go. I think you said the same.
He said the same thing. I think just being himself, and just that, not like trying to feel powerful, just being himself.
Beautiful. Yeah. What were you sharing, Jasmine? You want to share?
Same thing.
Okay.
But I think what a cute story. I have a nephew who's 8 years old, and he's kind of in that, how you said, mother said, when students they start understanding. And I think this is the story I'm going to share, which is he's at that stage where, transition stage. And that story.
Yeah. So also, this the example he shares is here that when we use force to change something, we hold on to those things even tightly because we are using pressure, we are using force. The person is not wanting to, and you are forcing him. Yeah. In the second example, when sun shone brightly, I think that was beautiful what you shared, Sweta, that sun was being himself. I think that's a beautiful angle to it. And the other thing is that in that being himself, he actually made the man realize that, oh my God, I am sweating so profusely. Let me take it off. So man was collaborating in that taking off the shawl. And this is what Mother and Sri Aurobindo share, that this transformation of nature, mind has to be collaborated. The child should feel himself that, yes, this is good for me. Only then vital can be transformed. Yes, Shweta, please.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. throughout, I think, child or grown-ups, I think it's a calibration you reach with yourself, you calibrate, and that's how I think all these experiences provide for these only, until you calibrate, and that's when you feel one with your vital.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's a very, very powerful thing. In short, it's a very powerful thing that if there is something who I want to work with, maybe a person next to me, or maybe my own self I am working with, it's very important for me to know why is it good for me. So also I think Shweta would know that we ask children these questions, that how are you feeling doing this, making them aware that you actually felt good and joyous when you did that. Yeah, so that the child himself becomes aware that, hey, I feel good here, I feel better here, like filling up those bottles. And yes, Shweta, please.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to add, and if I'm not feeling good, that also I'll say. So that space where you can just say.
So again, making myself or making the child aware of where I am when I do this or that. Because maybe I am naughty and I don't even know how I feel. So it's very good to know, as Shweta was sharing, that to know that whether I feel good here, do I really feel good doing that, or do I feel better here? As we were sharing with earlier examples, wo ek ice cream loon ya do, here, where do I feel more happiness? Do I feel more happy when I eat the ice cream myself, or do I feel happier when I share it with others? So again, kind of checking within, tuning within, and letting oneself know where I am, like inner compass, or what you were sharing, Shweta. Yeah, the calibration. Yeah, I think an ongoing, lifelong calibration. Yeah, please.
Absolutely. No, I just want to say that how joyful it is to see this, in little children, how they all want to, be there for each other. They want to help each other, to the extent of bringing each other's shoes, tying it for each other. So it's just that when you give that environment and just be there, for this vital to channelize, you see it throughout. It's very beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's a blessing to be an observer of all this, working with little children. Even I feel so fascinated by, especially younger ones, full of this, all that you are sharing, and innocence, and also so much of energy, creativity, what we in adulthood call out of box thinking. They already have that, and yet we mar it slowly in our own ignorance to find it
Yeah.
again.
True.
Okay, so I think let us stop here. I have to make some roti also. And I think enough for today, and we can
Yeah.
to feed the physical being.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same here.
great. So thank you for joining, and thank you for sharing your reflections, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye
And
bye.
we're gonna continue this, right?
Yeah,
Next.
I will continue.
All right.
Bye
Okay.
bye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you. Good
Good
night.
night.
Bye bye. Bye.